Hello everybody, my name is Brooke and welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking all things Instagram and taking my own Instagram photos. So as I'm sure most of you are aware, I recently did the Disney College program, which means that I lived in Disney World for 3 months. During those 3 months, I grew my social media drastically. And the reason I really credit all of that growth to is the filters I started using and the photos that I started taking myself. So I am someone who has always loved photography. I'm in a program at school that allows me to do a lot of photography, which I love. I've loved photography for years. I've done film photography, I've done digital photography, I've done a lot of photography. So the concept of photos themselves is something that I have always loved to do. So it's not just this narcissistic I want to take photos of myself in the park thing. It's actually, to me, it's a little bit of a art form. The concept of photography itself and different poses you can do and that sort of stuff. It just happens to be that these are photos with me in them. That is the art form that I have created. So I just wanted to go over with you guys a bit today about how I take those photos by myself. I'd say about 70% of my Instagram feed is photos that I do take solely by myself. Obviously it's easier to have a person with you to take them, and a lot of these tips are transferable if you do have a person with you. However, if you do not, usually like I usually did not, then these will help you out a bit. And I'm also going to go over how I edit all of my Instagram photos. A lot of you guys have been asking for this. I do have a Instagram theme, so to speak, and I've been in love with it since I started it, and I love the themes. So we are going to get into how I do that as well. So when I go take Instagram photos, sometimes it's just me playing in the parks, but sometimes there are also days where I would go to the parks if, you know, everyone else was at work, whatever, for the sole purpose of taking photos, which sounds extremely narcissistic, but I'm not gonna lie about that's just how it was. That's my life. That's what I did sometimes. And it wasn't be the whole day. It'd be like an hour or two. I'd go take some photos and then I'd just go live my life as normal because it doesn't take that long. But I'd have my own little photo shoot. So one thing I always did before this is I always wanted to find inspiration. So inspiration can come from a variety of different things, especially when you are in Disney World. But this can really be applicable to anything, anywhere, even if you're not in Disney World and you're just in your hometown or wherever you are. And one thing I really like to do for inspiration was just walk around and find it. Some of the best places I find for photos are the hidden ones. Something you want to look for is something that aligns with your feed. I always look for whites, pure whites, and greeny colors. I loved that in a photo. Greens and the whites and a little bit of pinky reds as well. That rusty orange color is amazing. If you're looking for a more saturated Instagram feed, anything with bright colors would also look awesome. But basically anything that caught my eye could be used for inspiration. Additionally to this, you can look on Pinterest. There's a ton of stuff on Pinterest there as well, whether it's poses, places, all that stuff, and other people's Instagram. There are a ton of Disney Instagrammers out there that all post a lot of really great photos. I will leave some of my favorites down in the comments below for you guys to check out. One thing I think it's important to mention is inspiration is just that. You're not copying a person's photo for exactly what it is, but maybe you're looking for a cool photo spot, or oh, you kind of like that pose they did. That is totally fine, but you're not going to go to that exact spot and copy that exact pose and their exact facial expression so you can get the same photo. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just getting a little bit of a kind of light bulb on in your brain for an idea of what you can do yourself. So once you have an idea of locations and poses, I always try to figure out what I'm going to wear. So I always try to find something that's neutral if I do want to take a lot of different photos in a lot of different locations. So shorts, I always wear high-waisted shorts. That's like my thing. I always wear high-waisted jean shorts, so those are very outfit transferable. A pair of shoes that looks good with a lot of different shirts. So on top of that, there are then another 2 items that I always brought with me. And this here is the first one. So this is a miniature tripod. I got it off Amazon for like $10. I'm not even gonna lie, the quality is not good. It is real cheap, it's real stiff, but it does extend pretty long. It's pretty ratchet, pretty shaky, and it has a iPhone holder, and it does fold up really small, which is the appeal to it for me. So I always bring this with me because it comes in very handy. And then I also bring this, which I did also get off of Amazon, and this is a camera Bluetooth remote. I don't remember how much this is, but I believe it was also around the $10 mark, and I got this a while ago, and it just does have a little battery in it. There's a little on and off switch and a little clip, and I always carry this with me. This is always in the front of my park bag, no matter what, because it is so handy. If you do not have this, you can always set the timer on your phone, but I find this works so much better because you always have the ability to shoot the photo exactly when you want it. You don't have to stand there awkwardly and then run up and set the timer again. This just keeps on shooting. And if you kind of hold your hand right in the photo, kind of like, I don't know, if you hold it like this or even like this, you can't really see the remote. So you can be clicking the button, but no one knows you're holding the remote because it is so tiny, or you can put your hand behind your back, behind your leg slightly, whichever. There are always ways to hide the little remote, so it makes it super easy to take photos. Additionally to that, I usually bring a portable charger for my phone because, like I said, I do take all the photos on my phone, and it runs out of battery quite quickly. So next, I am going to play some B-roll as I talk here, so you're going to see something different in the background, but we're going to talk about how I actually take those photos. So this is some shots of me at the Disney Pop Century Resort taking my own photos. So as you guys can see, I always set up the tripod first. I always take some test shots, I move around the camera, change the angle, change the length on the legs, this way that I know exactly kind of what the photo is going to look like, where it's going to be. I experiment with a little bit of different positions, trying to get that photo that I already have in my brain with that pose that I know I want. So after I get the pose that I know I want, or the kind of camera angle I know I want, I move around a little bit, do a bunch of different things, kind of move my arms, move my head, change my smile, change where I'm looking, that sort of stuff. That way I am able to get a bunch of different shots, and honestly I will take about 50 photos or so in a little session. Another cool thing that I was actually able to do a lot in the parks was, if I did not have my tripod with me, the garbage cans are actually the absolute perfect height in Disney World. So if you set your backpack up and lean your phone against it, it is the absolute perfect height to take photos with. So we'll just get into some general tips, and then I'll talk a little bit about editing my Instagram photos. So the first tip is to always have some sort of plan. So know where you're going to go, know a couple locations you might want to take photos at, or at least have a pose in mind that you might want to do. Some of my go-to poses are this standing one that I do a lot, also sitting down, and then just a general like standing pose are some of my go-to poses. But honestly, there are so many go-to poses you could do. Find out what works for you, find out what you like. And I'm sure you will be able to come up with something that you will be able to do, and it'll work for you. Next is to ignore the people. When you are taking photos by yourself, people are going to look at you strange. Very strange, actually. Very strange. They're gonna just stare at you. They're gonna do the questioning, what is she doing? They're never gonna say anything to you. Sometimes people will offer to take the photo for you, and you'll be like, nah, I'm good. Or if you want them to, I guess, but I like to do it my own because, once again, I like the certain angle. I have a certain goal in mind. But people will stare and watch you and think you are crazy, and it will happen. But you just gotta move on from it. Chances are you'll never see those people again, so it is what it is. If you are really nervous about it, maybe practice at home first, in your own backyard, that kind of stuff. Mornings are better to take photos, just because of A, the lighting is sometimes better in locations, B, there are not as many people around who stop and stare at you, and C, because there are not as many people around, the locations are also not as busy, because I know sometimes in Disney World specifically, photo places have lineups to get places, or you can also get a lot less people in the background. So if you're trying to get a shot of you at the castle, instead of having like thousands of people in the background, maybe you'll only get like 20 if you go in the morning on the right angle. So definitely kind of watch out for that. Look for the right time of day. I definitely suggest mornings. Along with this, you're going to really want to watch the sun. You do not want a direct sun angle in your face because you'll be all squinty and it will leave a weird glare. So indirect sun is the absolute best. If you can take photos in the shade, that is honestly so much better than the direct sunlight. If you can take photos on a cloudy day, not pouring rain obviously, but just kind of cloudy, that is even even better. So now we are going to go into editing photos. I edit all my photos on my phone, with the exception of sometimes I will, if I have like a huge blemish or something on my face, I will take that into Photoshop quickly on my laptop and erase that. If it is a close-up, I really don't do that often. Maybe one in every like 20 photos I'll do that, but I never change anything that doesn't change on its own. So for example, like I never make myself thinner, or I never like change my eye shape or make them bigger or more blue or like anything like that. All I actually do is I'll like remove a blemish or something. So that is all I will do. I find it better that way. It's a lot more natural and I'm proud of who I am. So I'm not going to try to change my body for the internet. But I am going to, actually, I'm going to start a screen recording for you guys. So what you guys are going to see on my camera roll here is that when I take a photo, I take a lot of photos, and I'm not exaggerating that. All these have the same location because they are all from the same photo shoot kind of area. As you can see, there are a ton of photos in the same location because I just take a bunch when I do it. So with that, we'll go down to some of the ones I want to edit with you guys today. And what I do, as you can see, let's find actually the ones I want to edit. So these are some of them, so I've already done a little bit of it, but I favorite them. So this one here has me and Charlie in it. I chose that one because it is a purple, and the purple with my editing, you'll see in a second why I wanted to do that one. So we have the purple there with Charlie, and then another one that I wanted to do with you guys was just a very generic one. I would think, which one did it? Oh, it was this flower wall one. So the flower wall, I took a bunch of photos with the pop flower wall. It has oranges in it, it has teals in it, I have the white of my Spirit jersey. Thought it was a really good one, so once again, I favorited some photos. And then if we actually go into my favorites, you'll see all the photos that I like, so it's just a lot easier for me to sort through, so that I can edit them later. So we're first going to go into Lightroom, and here you can see I have edited a bunch already. And then we're just going to go into my camera roll. We're going to go into my favorites. And then we're just going to select the ones that I wanted to edit. So I believe I wanted to edit this one here. Yeah. So I'm going to select that one. And then the other one I wanted to edit was the pop flower wall one. And let's edit that one and that one. So we'll add all three of those in there, and they do go in order that you took them. What? Words? They do go in on order that you took them. So as you can see, the one with Charlie's here, and then the flower wall ones are here. So let's start with this flower wall one here, just because it is a little bit darker. So what I actually use to edit my photos is a version of the Aspyn Ovard presets. So Aspyn Ovard is a YouTuber. I use a version of her presets. So I do have them all. And I actually created my own preset based off of her presets. So I love using the Dreamy preset, which you can see there is what turns everything kind of orange. But then this is the part of Brooke's Instagram preset, I called it, which is just me changing it up a bit, which just makes it look like that instead. So let's go a little bit to that Dreamy preset, and then I can show you guys kind of exactly what I change on that or modify on it a little bit. So we're just gonna check that off, so that's what it looks like. And the first thing I always do is I always go into detail, I turn the sharpening all the way down, I turn the color noise reduction all the way down, and then we go into effects, and we're gonna turn the grain all the way down as well. So the photos I find with that are really grainy and kind of pixely almost in a way they look. I don't like that effect. Some people do, but I always turn that all the way down. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into color, and as you can see, my skin looks super orange. So one cool thing about Lightroom is you can change individual colors. So if I hit mix in the corner here, we can go to orange, and we're going to take that luminance and we're going to brighten it up. And this can change for each photo, but I usually keep it approximately around the negative single digit mark. So I look a little tan, but I don't look orange is the big factor. From here, I'm just going to go into light or exposure and bump that up a little bit, just a tiny little bit. And then sometimes I also play with highlights and stuff too. This photo looks okay though. If we go into color, actually, and we go back to that blue and green and stuff, we can make the wall a little bit more teal, play around with those colors a little bit. make it look good. And then we can also crop the photo. So I usually like to crop my photos into squares still, but for this one we're going to crop it so that line at the top isn't there. And then I kind of still like my feet in it, so we're going to keep that like that. And that is literally going to be the finished photo. Another cool thing that you can do in Lightroom is once you have a photo edit that you like for a certain location, because the lighting in that's all the same, you can just copy and paste the edits. So here I'm just going to copy settings, and then I'm going to go to this photo here, which we edited, and which we haven't edited yet, sorry, and I'm going to paste settings, and as you can see, it kind of transferred those over. What I'm then going to do here is crop that out. So I'm going to move this down so you can't see the line again, and this one I'm actually going to move up because the flower does cut off at the bottom, so I'll move that up so you can't see the line. We'll hit OK, and then that photo is also good to go. So that's literally all I use for the presets. And then the problem is sometimes in photos it gets a little interesting with the presets. So for example, if we go into this photo here with me and Charlie, you can see that we're wearing the purple Spirit jerseys. Now if we go to our presets and we go, let's go with right up to the Part of Brooke Instagram one, we can see that purple is not looking so good. So obviously there's something that we need to change with that. So we're going to go in. I'm actually going to crop this photo first a little bit, just so we kind of have the angle in that we want. So that's kind of a little bit more of the crop I want for that photo. And now we're going to go into those colors because those are a big influence on what the photo looks like. So the first thing obviously that we're going to do is we're going to go into the pinks and purples because that's what we want to increase. So I just want to use all the different things showing the colors to make them more purple again. So the best way to make colors true to back what they were is to put the things back kind of in the range of 0. So, or a little bit above. So we're just going to kind of make everything a little more purple, a little more on the pink side. We're going to turn some saturations up, turn some luminances down. I'm going to go to the blue and we're going to turn that up. So you have to think, because blue and red make purple, those are the colors we have to work with a little bit. The purples, the pinks, the blues, and the reds. So we're changing the hue to make it more purple. We're changing the luminance a bit. We'll change the light blue to take away a little bit of that green. We'll go into the red and we'll push that a little bit more towards the purple color. And as you can see, that purple really has come back now nicely and it looks good again, not as washed out. Which is exactly what we wanted. So sometimes it just takes playing around with those colors a little bit to get it exactly how you want to. So that's just an example. I sometimes will take up to like 20 minutes playing with the colors. So this one here, same kind of deal. I'll put on, so this is what it was without the purple, and then sorry, this is what it is after I've played with all the colors. I'll change it back in a second, but this here is what it looked like before. So as you can see, there is a big difference once you do play around with the colors for a while. So after I have all my photos edited, I'm going to kind of plan out when I'm going to post them. And I have a couple kind of internal personal rules for the way I'm posting photos. So let's go to my Instagram feed. And we can see that one of the rules I have is I never post 2 of the same type of photo together, which basically means I've done it a couple times without realizing it. So like right here where you can see the like this photo of the Lion King thing and the popsicle stick one beside it, you'll see it's the same kind of position that I'm in, which is something I try to avoid because it makes the feed overall look pretty boring. So I try not to have 2 photos of me standing together, not 2 photos of me sitting, not 2 of these like upward angle photos, which I love. So I have this one here, and then a while ago I did like, I don't know, this one here as well. So I try not to have those together. I try to spread them out a bit so it looks a little bit more mixed up, less generic. I also try to spread out, so as you can see here, 2 of the photos, the one with me sitting in the Mickey head and the Polynesian one I just posted, were taken on the same day, but I spread them out so it looks a little bit different. Is just another technique I use just to kind of keep my feed kind of mixed up a little bit. And then another tool I use to see if everything looks okay next to each other is this app called FeedR, which is literally just an app where you can preview what your Instagram feed's gonna look like. So I have these photos posted here. If I go into preview post, I can go into my camera roll. I have a bunch of different photos. Let's see, maybe I want this one of me at the Swan and Dolphin be posted next. I can see what that photo looks like and if I like it in that position. So honestly, I don't really like it in that position because it makes everything look super green, all of my photos. So I think I need something with bright colors. So that lets me see, before I even have to post it, kind of what that looks like and if I want to post something else. So for example, this one isn't edited, but I could post this one here, and I can already tell that that would look a lot better because it has more of a color pop to it. So it really just helps me plan out exactly what I'm going to be doing. This video was a little longer than I expected, and it does feel like a very narcissistic thing when I talk about it, and it's very shallow to be a thing that I care about, but the truth is that I do. A lot of us do. If you're watching this, you probably care about your Instagram feed, and that's just the truth to it. I think there's a fine line too between caring about your Instagram feed and taking Instagram to a personal level where that is all you care about, and I think there's a fine line between that, and I think we all kind of need to find that line. I feel like I'm pretty balanced on it, because I do know my priorities, and this is just something extra I enjoy doing on the side. I call it a fun little hobby. So I hope you guys can understand that and not think I'm too crazy narcissistic. Yeah. Anyway, I will end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you haven't already. Go check out my channel and subscribe. And go check out my Instagram because, like I said, I post photos on there all the time. So make sure you go check it out. But thank you guys again so much for watching, and have a magical rest of your day.